can't see it. Wow. Wow. How does it? I will see it. Wow. I did not know that Mom painted the sky.
Yes, she did. She painted it just for you. This morning's little harvest. Hi friends, welcome back to Rouse Rising. If you are new here, my name is Katie and today I am sharing with you a big pantry restock. I'm also going to share with you a small little end of the month produce grocery haul. We had to get some produce and some seltzer water. You know how we do around here. And I'm going to be showing you a couple of whole food, made from scratch meal inspiration ideas to get you going this week so that you can nourish your family well and have a good time in the kitchen doing it. Yeah, that's what we're all about here on Rouse Rising. If you are into nourishing meal prep and food preparedness, you definitely want to click that subscribe button so you can be a part of the Rouse Rising family. We have hit 20,000 subscribers, you all, and I couldn't have done it without each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here with me. You all have been my inspiration to keep this channel going and to keep trucking along and making these videos. I enjoy sharing this part of my life with you so much, and I also started sharing a little bit more over on my membership side. And if you're curious about hot topics and more personal life things going on, then you definitely want to join as a Rouse Rising member. You can check that out at the Rouse Rising YouTube channel homepage, and you are going to find all of the details there. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my Whole Foods from scratch pantry restock, and it's the end of the month. I have worked through quite a bit of my food storage, and a lot of my countertop foods and my pantry foods need to be restocked from my bulk food stores. Most of my bulk organic food I source from Azure Standard. They have amazing prices there on their bulk organic goods, and I can get things like wheat berries to grind into flour, as well as rolled oats and gluten-free products, rice, you name it. They carry it there at Azure Standard, and they're going to have a drop location somewhere near you, and if they don't, you can start one in a town near you. Also in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some nourishing meal prep, what I made for lunch today, and a few other meals that we've had so far this week. I hope that inspires you to get in your kitchen and make some meals from scratch. I know that I get inspired checking out other people's channels and seeing what they make for their families, so I love to do the same here on my channel, is share with you how we feed all these people. There's 7 people in my family, and it takes a lot of food to keep these growing kids growing big and strong, and that takes a lot of inspiration, a lot of time in the kitchen, and a lot of love and joy preparing all these meals. So that's why I started the channel, was to share all that with you, and now there's 20,000 of you all here. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's get into this video. I grabbed out a chicken from my deep freezer. So I have in the pot some onions, some celery, ginger. We're gonna throw a bunch of other stuff in here. We've got some fresh garlic from my garden. This one, I'm not sure what happened there. It got cooked outside. Maybe, I'm not sure, but this garlic is definitely going to go in there. We're going to make a nourishing broth. I also added some carrots, peppercorns, and bay leaf. This adds a lot of depth of flavor to this broth, so I just throw the chicken right in there, and then I'm going to top it with some hot water or tap water and get it going in the Instant Pot. This is going to slow cook for the day. And I'm gonna pre-freeze all of these herbs to go into the freeze dryer. Okay, so here we've got a chicken, and I should have shown you guys how I made it, don't mind my stove. But basically, I just took some chicken broth and butter and made a roux and added some vegetables and some shredded up chicken. With the butter and the flour and the roux, I added some onion powder, I added some garlic powder, I added a bunch of pepper, I added some raw milk, I also added some Parmesan cheese, and we're gonna have some angel hair spaghetti pasta with it. So yeah, that's gonna be our chicken pasta lunch today. Delicious meal, stretching this chicken. So over here we've got all of our chicken bones and chicken meat, and then I'm working on getting this broth dealt with. I gotta put the bones back in, get the meat off, and yeah, I'll probably end up canning some of this. So I'm gonna throw some chicken feet in here, cook it a little more. This is the finished creamy chicken pasta. It is so yummy. But we top this with some Parmesan, and then we are on to this broth. So I've cooked it even longer with some chicken feet in it, and now I'm mashing everything up. And once it's all mashed up, I run this through a fine mesh strainer. The point of mashing it up is to make sure all of the collagen and everything from the chicken feet and the chicken bones is emulsified into the chicken broth. When I'm canning, especially broth, I like to include salt, and I like to use Redmond's Real Salt. This has over 60 trace minerals that your body needs and craves, and this salt is mined in Utah. It has such great flavor, and it's perfect for all of your salt needs in your home. I like to buy the 10-pound buckets, and with my code ROWSRISING, you get 10% off and free shipping on your orders over $30. I will leave that linked down in this video's description, and you can benefit from that greatly, keeping real salt in your home and nourishing yourself with real food mined here in the great USA. This chicken broth is going to be pressure canned in my pressure canner on the stove top. So I'm just filling it with the hot broth. We're going to put the hot lids on top, and then these are going to go in the pressure canner, and they're going to process for approximately 90 minutes. And then I'm going to write the exact date on these and the content. So I'll put like salted chicken broth and today's date on them, and then those will go on the shelf. Currently I am working through a rotation of chicken broth, and I am currently eating, or we are using up last fall's broths. That includes elk bone broth, that includes chicken bone broth and pork bone broth. And so these are going to go on the shelf, and I am hopeful that we will have enough broth for us to be enjoying these this time next year. But it's always nice to be able to set some nourishing foods aside for long-term food storage. These are always going to be on the shelf and ready for use. So what I like to do is open them up and add them to my rice dishes, and I cook my rice in our bone broth, and that gives us lots of extra nutrition and flavor to our rice. Here I am decorating Torsten's cake, and he does not like a lot of icing, but when I flipped the cake out, it broke into 3 pieces. This is a sourdough chocolate cake, but I added way too many chocolate chips to it, and adding the chocolate chips actually made it stick a little bit more, or I'm not really sure. Normally these cakes come out really easily, but I typically don't add chocolate chips. This time I did, and this time it broke, or it stuck to the inside more. And we're just piping some buttercream frosting on here. He doesn't like it really thick, so this kind of gives him the option to scrape it off a little bit easier, and he thought it was really fun and squiggly. So that was a joy to make for him for his 7th birthday, and we love our chocolate sourdough cake. I will leave that recipe linked down below in this video's description for you all.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stinker Pot Sandwich. Happy birthday to you. Woo! How's it feel to be 6 again?
The final product of my chicken broth canning is 4 quarts, and these are going to go on the shelf. All of them sealed, and I used a variety of lids, as you can see. I just used what I had available, but I also have a 4 jars discount code for you all down in this video's description. If you need bulk jar lids, you can get those there. Okay, this is what we got to snack on. We got some tortilla chips, some pretzels, we got some peppers, some peaches, some lettuce, grapes, 2 bunches of bananas, some cheese, some juices, and a whole lot of seltzer water. So this is just going to get us through the rest of this month. yeah, rest of August. With my Stay Fresh freeze dryer, I have been able to put up quite a bit of food, and my preference is to use already frozen food that either I buy from the store or that I'm pre-freezing here. It just makes the process a lot quicker. And I use some frozen peas and some frozen mixed vegetables to make some soup bags, or these bags are going to be enough for me to throw one of these bags of vegetables in with a pot of soup. So in an emergency situation or in a survival situation, we will have some delicious meals set aside with some nourishing vegetables. These are the oxygen absorbers, and they have to be stored in an airtight container. And then this is my Mylar bag sealer that came with my Stay Fresh freeze dryer. It makes preserving food so easy. It seals them right up, and I like to seal them close to the food contents and then cut off the excess. That way I can store all of these into a bucket much easier and much neater. Just going through the garden and grabbing all of the things that I can seed save. So here are some of my zinnias, and you can see the zinnia flower in the middle is all gone. But along these edges, there is seeds. So here's the little seeds, the little curly seeds. So I just get those out of there, and normally I do it a little bit cleaner than this, but I just wanted to show you all that when you let a plant go to full cycle, see these ones right here are still green, but these right here are brown and they're ready to go. So I'm just gonna put those in there. So those are a little bit green still, but you get the idea. And then what I'll do is I'll be sifting the seeds out, and then we'll put them in little containers. Oh, there's a little bug friend. And I've got some chamomile in there as well. I pick these when they are nice and dry, or when they start to dry, because then the seeds just come off like that. When you let your plants go to flower so that you can harvest seed, they give you these little blessings. So this is some of my lettuce, and it's the prettiest little flowers. So cute. See, boop. This is how I save my seeds. I use these cone-shaped coffee filters. It's just what I have on hand. You can use envelopes or whatever you want to use, but I am putting them in here, and then I write what's in them, and I just take a little bit of Elmer's glue and the white glue, put a little bead on it, seal them up, and then I'm going to pop all of these into a freezer bag and stick them in the freezer once I get them to a point that I'm happy I'm done with all my seed saving. And then I'm also going to be making my daily loaf of bread. I usually try to get this going in the morning so that we can have a loaf of bread for lunch or dinner, or just to snack on, to have a slice of bread with some delicious butter. This loaf is going to be a sourdough loaf, and I do have that as a short on my channel if you want to check out the sourdough loaf recipe that goes in the bread machine. And next up, it's time to make some lunch for the family. So what we're going to be making is some kielbasa rice. It's going to be kind of like a Creole inspired dish, but I'm just going to use some fresh onions from the garden. We also were given some tomatoes from a lady named Lee over in Medford. She blessed us with some vegetables. So we're going to be adding those, as well as some yellow pepper, because I've got some peppers to use. And we're going to saute all of this up in the pan. We're also going to be adding those tomatoes, like I said. We're going to chop up some chicken and add that. We're going to chop up some kielbasa and add the kielbasa. We're also going to be adding 3 cups of rice and, let's see, about 5.5 cups of broth or water to this. And everything is going to simmer together with some salt, and that's going to bring out the flavors of all of the vegetables that are in this dish. One of my favorite ways to cook is one pot meals, and we live by the Instant Pot. I would say I use my Instant Pot every day, if not multiple times a day, and it really does help me out in the kitchen because I can set it and forget it. So we're just going to hit the rice function on this and let this cook for about 15 minutes in the rice cooker. And you can either let it decompress naturally, but we're hungry and I want to get it cooled off. So I helped it along and covered it with a cloth and helped it decompress. And we just mix it all up and serve it in some bowls. And this is a family favorite meal. So simple and so delicious. Next up, we're gonna start stocking some of the pantry items that I need to restock. This is coconut palm sugar. It is a mostly unrefined sugar, or it is an unrefined sugar, and it has all of the vitamin or vital minerals and nutrients in it still intact. And it is a great alternative to the white sugar on the shelf. So I like to put it in my coffee. The kids like to sprinkle it on their oatmeal. It is a delicious, it has a caramel type flavor to it. We really like it. And then this is the black beluga lentils. I am trying to get rid of this bag out of my back stock, but I'm gonna have to cook up the rest of these later on today, this 1 cup of lentils that is left. Sometimes restocking my pantry means I'm consolidating items, as I am doing with these rolled 9-grain oats right here. And then I'm going to be stocking up my hard white wheat berries that I make breads with, sourdough, things like that. And then I'm going to be restocking my hard red wheat berries, and I also use that in my daily loaf of bread mixed with the hard white wheat. And I'm filling up 2 jars because I have a spare jar and I use a lot of the hard red wheat berries. Back here in, oops, I left my funnel and my scoop in one of my buckets, and sometimes when I come back to do this, I have to go on the hunt. Which bucket did I use last? Which bucket has my scoop and my funnel? So I am going to work on refilling my sugar jar. This is my sugar jar that I keep out in my kitchen, available at all times, because I use organic cane sugar in my bread baking. And my daily loaf of bread, I use 4 tablespoons of sugar, so that's what I use this for. I also use cane sugar in my sheet pancake recipe and other recipes like that. As I mentioned earlier, I use the coconut palm sugar and coffee and to sprinkle on oatmeal, and it just has a delicious caramel flavor, whereas the cane sugar has more of a pure sugar flavor. And I use that for other things because it is less expensive, but it is still organic. So this is my large 5-gallon bucket of oatmeal, and we use quite a bit of oats. I kind of rotate between rye oats or rye flakes and oatmeal rolled flakes and the 9-grain flakes. And I think I just ran out of the rye flakes, so now I'm just down to oatmeal and the 9-grain, and I have about half a bucket of oatmeal and then a huge 50-pound bag of oats to get us through the next 6 months to a year. I'm not really sure how long 50 pounds will last us, and I think 50 pounds usually lasts us about 6 months. This is rice, and the big 50-pound bags of rice go in these buckets. They get really, really heavy. This bucket is so heavy, so I transfer it into a smaller jar. I also have a 2-gallon bucket full of rice also. I have a bunch of white buckets, 2-gallon buckets, and I can't ever keep up with where that one is. So the mason jar that I can see through is what I refill the most, and I don't refill it out of my 2-gallon bucket. But I'm saving those 2-gallon buckets, and I'm going to be using those in the future. We're going to have to switch over and downsize our bulk storage at some point in the future, and I will be using 2-gallon buckets, but I'll go into more details about that later on. That is another video for another day. Here I am consolidating the allergen-free chocolate chips. I had 2 large jars of those, and then these are the apple juice infused cranberries. These are the most delicious snack. My kids eat them by the handful, and I also keep dried mango on hand. I also try to keep dried bananas, and now as I am editing this, I realize my Azure Standard order is due today, and I need to order some more dried bananas before that cutoff. It's in about an hour, so as soon as I'm done editing, I'm going to be placing that order to make sure I get our banana chips because we love to snack on dried fruit. I also have been freeze drying fruit a lot lately, and we have been enjoying the freeze dried fruit. So now I am restocking the shredded coconut, and I bought a huge, was this a 5-pound bag or a 10-pound bag? I'm not sure, but I bought it back in January or February probably, and I really need to work through this. The kids love to eat this coconut by the handful. They think it's so delicious. We throw it in with smoothies, throw it in with oatmeal, throw it in with granola, anything you can think of. It's going to give you that extra fiber, that extra crunch. You can toast it in the oven. There's just a lot of ways that you can use this coconut. And then I just filled up another one of these half-gallon jars with the remainder of the apple juice infused cranberries. This is the sauerkraut that I made in my last meal prep video, and it is finally ready to be stored in the refrigerator. So once it's done fermenting, once it's done bubbling, usually anywhere from 5 to 10 days. So I think this is day 7 or so. And I am taking out the cabbage leaves that I used to keep it submerged under the brine, and I'm taking out the weights and the pickle tops or the pickle pipes. And these are going to be stored in the refrigerator. I'm taking out the old sauerkraut because I need these half-gallon jars for the milk lady. Then she will be all set up to have jars for us in rotation. So I gave her 6 last time, and I need to get her 6 more, but I've got lots of food and lots of jars. So consolidation is happening, and I'm going to get these cleaned up, sterilized, and delivered to her tomorrow for my milk pickup. So that's going to do it for this pantry restock refresh, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got some Whole Foods meal inspiration, and you kind of see how I take care of rotating our food stores and keeping our bulk foods fresh. And remember, first in, first out. FIFO, first in, first out with your dates, with your products, and your food storage will run very smoothly. You will find a rhythm. You will be blessed with your food preparedness. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like. Be sure to subscribe. Until next time, you guys, thanks for watching. Bye. This morning's little harvest. Got tons of tomatoes on the vines. I know I could have managed these better, but I really didn't expect to have so many tomatoes. And we are super dry desert here. I don't know if I need to, I've clipped a ton of leaves a couple weeks ago, but I need to probably do more. Look at all of those. So we've got some tomatoes. We also have some up on the hill. We've got potatoes we need to harvest. We've got kale growing. Lots of sunflowers.